The world is full of booby traps at each and every corner that are ready to take away your masculine power. Just take a look at every famous Netflix movie or shows that is being promoted, or have a look at the type of individuals that are being put on a pedestal these days. Nothing escapes the mind control agenda of the elites. Men are being brainwashed into accepting weakness. There's a very famous story about a lion that I want you to hear. Once upon a time, there was a fierce lion who was feared by all. One day, the lion falls in love with the daughter of the farmer. But here's the thing. The farmer hated that lion, and when he heard that the lion fell in love with his daughter, he wanted to do anything he could to stop that lion. So the sneaky farmer calls the lion and tells him that he will only allow him to marry his daughter on one condition. And that is to remove your sharp claws for the safety of his daughter. The lion thought, well, it's just a small price for such a big reward I will get, so why not? The lion goes, hits his claws against the rock, and breaks them off. The next day, he goes to the farmer and tells him, I don't have sharp claws anymore. Now give me your daughter's hand in marriage. But the sneaky farmer tells him to do one last thing, and that is to remove his sharp teeth and fangs. The lion agrees to this condition as well, and breaks off his sharp fangs. But when the lion goes to the farmer the next day, the farmer attacks the lion and kills him. This time the lion had no sharp claws or teeth to defend himself. Everything that gave the lion his strength, he chose to voluntarily give away one by one. Remember, brothers, the world you live in today is no different. There are much bigger forces at play that have carefully designed the matrix to keep you a slave to your desires and urges. And here's the harsh truth. You could blame the farmer or the elites all you want, but it was the lion at the end of the day who chose voluntarily to obey them. Strength is the virtue that all men ought to abide by, whether it be in your professional, financial, or romantic life. Every man naturally have the desire to feel dominant, strong, and powerful, because that is who you are. All men desire a strong sense of drive. A lot of us don't have it because we indulge in behaviors that keep us from becoming the strong men we were intended to be. Nowadays, men gripe and whine about everything, spend a lot of money on drugs and porn, and even apologize to others for things that don't call for it. With that said, let's look at the 7 things and habits that make men weak. Number 1. Making fun of other people. This is a point that not many people talk about, but as a high-value man, you never look down on others. You may have heard the example of the crab's bucket. When a crab is about to escape the bucket, others will pull it back down. If you find yourself making fun of others, then remember this: you are below them. Period. Of course, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't correct someone for their mistake, but don't make a joke out of it. As a man, you need to teach and guide your fellow brothers without any grudge or hidden strings. Remember, strong and self-assured men don't belittle others. Instead, they are there to support and uplift them. This point might seem like a very obvious one, but is very much needed, especially in today's generation. Listen to what Mike Tyson says about this. Social media has made you way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. Number 2. Failure to accept responsibility. Going back to the story of the lion and the farmer's daughter, the greatest reason why the lion loses it all at the end comes down to him not being aware of his responsibility. His responsibility was to live as a lion. His fangs and sharp claws were a part of what made him a lion, but he forgot that responsibility and chose to give it all away. Same is true to your life. Uphold your responsibilities with pride. I want you to say it with me. I will uphold my responsibilities with pride, for they are what make me a man. The day you choose to escape your responsibilities is the day you choose to escape manhood altogether. I want you to memorize this quote off by heart. The price of greatness is responsibility. Listen to that again. The price of greatness is responsibility. Number 3. Running from failure. This one is a tough one. In our world today, most men will always choose comfort over growth. Remember, growth is painful and oftentimes lies behind failure. There's that famous example of the man who goes to dig for diamonds. He doesn't know how far below the surface the diamond is, yet he continues to dig and dig. At the start, every time he digs, he sees only more dirt. He digs more, and more dirt comes up yet again. But after a few hours or even days, he gets what he wanted. So remember, brothers, failure is not the end of it. If that's the mentality you have, then rest be assured, you will never succeed in anything. Just think about anything worth having. Let's say you start a business. At the start, you might need to go through so many so-called failures while you attempt to learn the business and land your customers. But only when you stay in the game long enough and don't try to run from those temporary failures do you see yourself grow. Same with women. At the start, when you make those approaches, you might come across as a creepy grown man who doesn't know how to interact. But your success lies behind those temporary failures. This is a small price a strong man needs to pay for success. We are frequently trained as children to feel ashamed of our mistakes and failures, to try and justify for them by blaming it on another culprit. You might have said, "Oh, it's not my fault," or "This person is to blame." These are the thoughts of a loser. I want you to hear this quote and write it down somewhere if you want. It is a weak man who blames his failure on the strength of others.